Whalls podcast. Let's go.
What episode are we on, dude?
I don't know. Where's our little thingy that slides across?
87.
Ooh, 87. Very nice.
Was that the Gronk special? Wasn't
The
he
Gronk?
87?
Jeez, I don't know. Now that now that you're asking the question.
Yeah, now we gotta check because I gotta know.
Right. Gronk's number. Let's see. He was 87.
My man.
Good stuff, Dayton. Starting the show off right. Gronk ran a 40-yard dash time of a 4.68. How about that?
That is flying for a guy that big.
Yeah, for a big boy like him. Good for him.
Why is my shirt unbuttoned? What are we doing here? What kind of show is this?
Looking like a couple of Guidos.
I'm going to have to ask you to refrain from your ethnic slurs.
You should probably tune out if that's the case.
Yeah. All right. I can't even.
I'm just kidding.
I'm so sorry.
That's fine.
I can't.
This is how you wear it when the weather's warm, because you got to get more airflow in there.
Yeah.
Plus,
maybe.
I don't like that top button because then makes it got such a big head, but it feels like it's right on my neck.
It's choking you down, man. But we got a good show.
Yeah. Speaking of
good show.
Speaking of sports and stuff, how about your boy LeBron James?
Dude, I'm going to ask you for the last time. I swear to God, if you do not get his name right, I'm going to come back down there to South Carolina and we're going to have words. He is LeBrona. He identifies as a bitch.
That's too much. I had no idea where you were going with that. That's fantastic.
LeBrona.
But so he says that he would question whether or not Brittany Griner would return to the U.S. So I don't disagree with what he said based on her actions. But to say that, especially when the argument's going around there, is that this would have never happened to LeBron James. And then the first thing he says is he comes out and says, she should probably never come back to the U.S. if I were her.
Yeah, I mean, some people could, interpret that as like he's glad that she's being detained in Russia.
Right.
I mean, that's one interpretation of that. The second, which is the more likely, is that he's taking a shot at the fact that the United States hasn't done more to get her back over here. But the whole thing that drives me the most insane, and if you read an article on ESPN or some of these other things, they're like, her alleged crime. I'm like, no, she pled guilty.
Yeah.
She has admitted to breaking the law
wrongfully convicted.
She's not
convicted. That's what ESPN says.
It is not wrongfully. She admitted she did it. She's guilty. And she's in another country. And maybe this would be a good time for all of the LeBronas out there to brush up on their civics and understand that the rest of the world doesn't operate with a Bill of Rights. That's an American thing. Maybe you should cherish that a little more. Maybe have a little gratitude for the founding fathers who had the foresight to recognize that this would be the best way, not the perfect way, the best way to have a country.
Yeah, so I know that LeBron since walked it back. And my thing with this is it's not just that, maybe America should or shouldn't do more. Everyone acts like they're right there talking to Vladimir Putin on the phone while the U.S. is supporting Ukraine in a war with Russia. So Brittany Griner is detained in Russia. Not only was she stupid and did this in another country where it is illegal, she did it during a time of war.
Right.
So what do you think if Russia was willing to go to war with Ukraine, knowing Ukraine was going to be backed by U.S. dollars? What the hell does Russia care at this point? They're already willing to come after the U.S., right? They're already willing to stand toe-to-toe with Putin or with Biden. So what does it matter at this point? And then the Biden administration comes out, says that they're going to create an executive order about how we're going to be tough for people who get captured in other countries. That's called extradition treaties. And the things that we already have in place with countries who are friendly to us. But if you're going to go to a country that is not friendly to us, what kind of punishment are you going to give Russia? What are you going to do to Russia?
They're not going to be able to vote at the NATO.
I mean, yeah, darn, because they're not a part of NATO.
They don't care. Here's the tip. They don't care.
Well, I guess we'll cut off the Nord Stream 2 pipeline and stop getting oil from them.
I'm tired of the lies, man.
Wait. I thought we already did that.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
How do people like LeBron get away with saying stupid stuff like this, and yet they're still celebrated as athletes and everything?
Well, what would be great is actually if we could test this theory, if it would happen to LeBron or not. So, LeBron, how about we send you over to Russia for a quick little minute, and then you can see if you break their laws, and let's find out what happens. You game? You in? You want to play that? Let's go. Come on, tough guy. Because the answer is, of course, you're not going. Don't be an idiot. You're not going to go. And you just can't stand the fact that people would call you out on it. You say something stupid, and then you're like shocked that, oh, wow, yeah, the general consensus is, yeah, that was stupid. Because you're not going there. You're definitely not going there.
No, and I will give it to LeBron that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. He's been pretty solid throughout his whole career. You know, he hasn't gotten in trouble with drugs, women, anything like that. So I'll give it to him there. But, you know, until the last few years where he just starts opening his mouth and saying stupid things, I think the thing that really irritates me is that there's people like LeBron who think that they know more and are better than everyone else.
Yeah,
because of their position in life.
Well, they equate money with knowledge. And that's just, there's plenty of
or with value, right? Really value smart. Of life.
Yeah. I mean, for real, but that's the thing. There's a lot of people who are, struggling or not struggling, but maybe even choose to not acquire wealth or do whatever, that are very intelligent. Maybe they don't want the headaches associated with the wealth accumulation. Ever think of that? So, but you think because you're a billionaire that you are smarter than everybody? Yeah, that's interesting. That by definition means you aren't, because there are lots of people who are very much smarter than he is.
That's so. Speaking of some stupid people, Mr. Producer, if you have that next video queued, let's run this. This is for I forget her role. It says that she's like the director of the National Women's Council or something like that. Pull this up. I gotta look at this. She's the president of the National Women's Law Center. So let's hear what she has to say. This is stupidity about what is a woman.
Since you are the president of the National Women's Law Center, I was hoping that you could define what a woman is for us in this committee hearing.
Well, as the president of the National Women's Law Center, you can imagine I say woman a lot in my day job.
Okay, so I'm just asking for the definition.
So what I'll tell you is I am a woman. That's how I identify.
Okay.
But I wonder, however, if in part the reason that you're asking a question is that you're trying to suggest that people who
I am
don't
simply asking the question, and I
can't
simply
be
want an
pregnant.
answer.
And so I think it's actually really important to be very clear here that there are people who identify as non-binary. I think about 5% of young people.
We're not going to go there. I was hoping maybe you would.
pregnant.
I was hoping that maybe you would say something that maybe we learned in high school biology that has to do with X and Y chromosomes, but which define male and female. But I guess we're not
you could stop it there. Now, I really hate where he went at the end there, but it's just fun. It's just funny that she is the president of the National Women's Law Center and cannot come up with a definition, because everything has to have a definition. You have to be able to define everything in some way.
Well, the biggest issue, Chad, is the fact that they don't ever really want to get down to brass tacks where I just wish they would say it out loud. There's people who believe that gender is an ideology now. And if it's an ideology, it's how I feel. It's how I identify. It's a mental thing, a wiring in your head, as opposed to the composition of your physical makeup. They're avoiding that concrete distinction because they want to focus on the ideology. You can control people with an ideology.
Yeah, you're so spot on. It's just funny that you're welcome. It's another one of those things that drives you crazy when, like you said, they don't want to go down the rabbit hole of truth versus fiction. They only want to do it when it supports their narrative, which is very rare and typically wrapped around ideologies, feelings. Well, so-and-so should be able to use the boys' bathroom because they got made fun of when they went in the girls' bathroom. Well, so here's this thing that I was thinking about the other day. For society, we have normal things, right? Society creates norms. You're supposed to, in America, you're supposed to drive on the right side of the road. What happens if you're a weirdo and you want to drive on the left side of the road?
Well,
should we just create laws now where you can drive on the left side of the road whenever you feel? No, just like people know growing up that if you're different than the societal norm, which everyone is in some way, but there's a chance that someone else is going to make fun of you for it. There's a chance that someone is going to point in your face and laugh. There's a chance that you might not get a job. You might not get a date. You might not get any of that stuff because you're operating outside of societal norms or whatever normal is to that person. Now, if we take the ideologies, like you said, and we try to make normal a part of the ideologies, it's absolutely impossible because not everyone has the same ideologies. That's why for years we've let society deal with this stuff. I mean, do you think that there's ever a point where we go back to this stuff? Or, I mean, are we going to continue to go down this rabbit hole until war breaks out?
Well, we're going to continue down the rabbit hole until somebody starts pointing out the most obvious thing in the world, which is the fact that this idea of gender fluidity or multiple genders is like a religion. It's a religion. Because
can you define
at the end of the
religion?
I can, yeah. A belief system. And
wow, that was tough.
Yeah, right. But the thing is, like, dude, a lot of times at the end of the day, religions can't be proven, right? As a Christian, we can agree that we see a lot of supporting evidence for the fact that there's a creator, there's God, and we believe,
right. There's a certain
the Bible, there's
amount of faith
right.
involved.
But at the end of the day, I don't have, like, God didn't call me on my iPhone. You know what I mean? He's,
hello, Chris.
I mean, it'd be awesome. Can you imagine if God was like, ding dong, I'd like to jump in on this Zoom right now. And, like, I'll take it from here, gents. That would be awesome. But that's not how it works. And, but that's what belief systems are. And the idea of gender fluidity, that's an ideology because they can change it. It can't be proven. You know why it can't be proven? Because you can never decide what's in somebody else's head. I feel like a cat today. And you're not allowed to tell me that I don't feel like a cat.
Right.
Because that's what they're talking about. Somebody says, I feel like I'm going to be a woman today. Well, the response to that is like, well, I guess we're just going to try to accommodate, Chris as best as he can. We'll start calling him Uncle Chrissy and, go from there. Right.
So are we supposed to cancel Shania Twain's song now? Man, I feel like a woman. Dun, dun,
sometimes.
Dun, 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 dun.
Let's go, girls. I don't know.
It just,
yeah, but I mean,
the whole thing, it's like, if you want to go down this rabbit hole and people want to start talking about this stuff, if you can't define a woman, or if you're creating too many terms, don't call it a woman. Call it something else. Right? Call it whatever call it a birthing parent. But if we know the first time you tell me that you're a birthing parent, my assumption is you're weird.
You're a woman.
You're a little off the societal norms. Because every one of us, as far as I know, was birthed from a mother and a father, from a male and a female.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody with an XX chromosome, someone with an XY chromosome. That's
like
the only way that works. That is the only way that works. And then there was a 50-50 chance that you would get one of those X's or you'd get one of those Y's.
Mm.
There's a 50-50 chance outside of the other X that you've already gotten. Like that. But you have to define all these things a certain way. Right? Because if we don't define things, and the left is usually great at this, they label everything. They love to use labeling to make you go one way or the other. But then when it comes to stuff like this, they don't want to label anything because they want to fit you into whatever their narrative is.
Again, it comes back to controlling. I can control societal pressures, canceling, wokeness. And there's a lot of people who are waking up to that are like, yeah, this is a very slippery slope. And Chad, the problem I have with everything is, why can we not say no? Why is it that somebody goes, well, I feel like a cat, and I can be like, no. And I'm not allowed to say no. Like, no, I'm not gonna respond to you. You're telling me you feel like a cat and you want to meow and you want to have a litter box outside of your classroom. The answer is no. I'm not going to do that.
Because then my feelings.
I'm not going to treat you like a cat. I don't care. I mean, that's the thing. Like, why do I have to adjust what I see with my own two eyes? And I mean, it goes deeper than that. I shouldn't even say that. But I mean, you're for high level topical understanding.
Right.
Like,
because if they didn't.
Check the polls, Jack.
Emotion is the strongest persuader, right? So if you can get people persuaded by emotion and then rile up people to feel a certain way, because this is another thing that I was thinking is, why does every time it comes to a topic, right? If I was like, you know what, Chris, I'm pro-choice. I agree with abortion. You would be like, oh, you must be a Democrat. Oh, Chris, I'm pro-life. You must be a Republican. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but what if I agree with the death penalty or capital punishment? What if I believe with trickle-down economics or whatever you want to call it? What if I believe in the Second Amendment, yet I still believe in abortion? But that's not what the media does, because they can't divide us. If we look at things like that.
Divide and label. But that was what Trump did.
And that's control.
And you want to talk about the master of that? That's Donald Trump.
He just played. He played their game right back at.
He played their game, and he played it better than they did, and they hate him for that.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, I don't like it when they do it, and I sure shit don't like it when he does it. The whole point is we have to move past this. You can't continue to divide and label, and come on, like, but we gotta mature as a country.
Right. It's the same thing. Just because Trump did those things and we don't like him for it, doesn't mean that we're not not Republicans or not conservatives or not going to vote for him.
Right.
Because what he said and what he did was two different things. That's what I like about him. I mean, read the polls, Jack.
Read the polls. I'm tired of the lies.
Man.
By the way, did you know President Biden has COVID? So he's gotten a vaccine. He's got a second vaccine. He's got a booster and a third booster and a fourth booster and a fifth booster. And where did you get COVID? We're not saying. It doesn't matter. But he's got COVID.
Yeah, do you remember that video of him at a press conference about a year ago, I think, saying that if you got the vaccines,
you wouldn't get COVID.
You couldn't catch COVID. And he's got 2 vaccines and 2 boosters. And he caught COVID.
Jeez. Unbelievable.
That's tough.
Guess you didn't know what you're talking about.
Right, but the rest of us the whole time didn't know what we were talking about either, saying that masks don't work, right?
Right.
And of course, we still don't know, even though we were right.
Dude, I just went to a closing,
there.
and I walked in, and I met the client. I shook his hand, and I turned to the closer, and I said, "Hi, my name's Chris," and I stuck my hand out, and she was like, "Yeah, no, I take precautions." You take precautions, okay? Yeah, fair enough. That's cool. You're not wearing a mask right now in a closed room. I mean, so like,
it would be cool if you take precautions for everything in life, not just for COVID, because then it makes sense.
Correct. Anyway,
I won't get into a rant there,
but we got a nice segue right here, because I was going to say, like, again, it's all about the control and the manipulation of steering people, but then they don't like the results of their own choices, right? Isn't that the problem? The people who get into leadership, the Senate, the whole Congress, the House of Representatives, and the president are all controlled by the Democrats. So who are they going to blame? It's 2 years later, man, and they're talking about Donald Trump. 2 years later. By the way, Nancy Pelosi and these clowns have been in government for 40 plus years. But it's somebody else's fault? Like, come on, man.
Can we run that YouTube video really quick, Mr. Producer? It's a perfect time for it with Biden. Read the polls, Jack. I just want to see this live on the air.
Is it in the doc?
It's in Discord, sorry.
Oh, all good.
It'd be, good if I told you where I...
Mr. President, what's your message to Democrats who don't want you to run again?
They want me to run.
2/3 say they
Read
don't.
the polls. Read the polls, Jack. You guys are all the same. That poll showed that 92% of Democrats, if I ran, would vote for me.
A majority of Democrats say they don't want you to run again in 2024.
92% said if I did, they'd vote for me.
Oops.
Dude, but they are so wild. This guy has the lowest, he has had lower approval numbers than Jimmy Carter, who everyone knows Jimmy Carter is the worst president in history.
Well, he was around when Jimmy Carter was president. He probably told him, "Hold my beer. Watch this."
What he told me is like, wait until I become president and read the polls, Jimmy.
Unbelievable.
This guy is lost. Why? I can't believe he's out in public. I wonder if he actually got COVID. Or if there's something else going on.
They might just be hiding him.
That's my wild conspiracy. As soon as I heard that story, I was like, I doubt he got COVID.
He can't get COVID. He's had 2 vaccines and the 2 boosters.
I must be right then. But let's talk about these. We got to start jamming here. We were rolling there.
Yeah.
It's crazy that Starbucks is closing cities and is closing stores, in Democratic ran cities. And do you know what the reason is, Chris?
Yeah, probably because they're soft on crime.
Yeah, or they're becoming unsafe, according to their CEO. Isn't that crazy? Who would have thunk?
When you continue to allow people to act egregiously that make the rest of the citizenry feel unsafe, and those people get caught, they're supposed to be charged with something. The whole legal system we have is designed to keep people safe from aggression and people being aggressive in the community. But then they're turning those people back loose into the community with no repercussions. And they're sending loud and clear messages to people who want to break the law that there's no consequence for this. And so when there's no consequence, you're going to have new criminals who break the law, and then you're going to have the returning ones breaking the law. And now you just got a big old law, breaking assembly here going on where we're not going to do anything. We're just going to do whatever we want. I want to rob this Target today. I'm going to walk in and take this jewelry. I'm going to do whatever I feel like today.
I was really wondering what you were going to call it. Your big law breaking
assembly. It's got my big energy.
So yeah, right. So this is a quote from him. It says, and this is Howard Schultz, who took back over Starbucks not too long ago, says, Starbucks is a window into America. We are facing things in which the stores were not built for. Yes, many stores are not built for bullets, rocks, Molotov cocktails, and other things like that. Those stores are definitely not built for that. And he says, we're listening to our people in closing stores. So you're listening. So if I'm understanding this correctly, he's listening to his employees. These employees where I'm just going to make a grave assumption. You have been to a Starbucks. If I was going to stereotype the people who most often work at a Starbucks because they take very good care of their employees, typically it's someone who, and like I said, if I was going to stereotype, probably doesn't see things the way that I do. They like to celebrate Pride Month. They probably don't want you to bring your gun in there. So if you're listening to these people, and that's why you're closing stores, these people who work in these Democrat-run cities, they are, in November, they are going to walk out that door and go vote for the same people that put them in that position.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
But they don't see the equation that way. That's the problem. You know, you're looking at it going, hey, here's A plus B equals C. And they're like, no. It's not, me working here plus the crime equals, me out of a job. They don't see that. They don't believe it. But they also don't believe that they know what a woman is, or what bathroom to use.
Right. And the last part of this is talking about that the Starbucks Workers United is trying to unionize Starbucks. Of course they are, even though they pay their employees well. Starbucks employees always talking like the whole rave is that Starbucks does very good for their employees. So why are you going to unionize? But anywho, the union says this. Their goal is to form a collaborative, creative, forward-thinking, justice-seeking, independent organization that will allow us to advocate for ourselves.
Oh God, that's so boring. Like,
I'm just going to be honest. If you work for a company, you don't have the opportunity to advocate for yourself. You chose to take employment there. If you want to advocate for yourself, go start your own business. Be your own employer. But the whole point of this where I'm going at with it, is these people in these Democrat-run cities who want to unionize are looking for justice-seeking, collaborative, creative.
How about just serve some coffee? Can I just get a venti?
What justice are you looking for? You're the one who voted for the riots.
Right.
Just like you said, Chris. I say it like I was arguing with you, but I wasn't. And I totally agree with everything that you said.
Well, dude, you're on a roll. I think we should just parlay this right up into your weekly rant. What do you say?
Man, let's do it. Let's do it.
What's the rant brought to us by this week?
This is just an Angry Orchard hard fruit cider. Too much sugar for me, but it's pretty good. You want something tropical? It's got a lot of pineapple in it.
Nice.
You know what pineapple's good for, I'm sure. But moving on.
Reload.
Yeah, so there's an article from ESPN, and there's been this whole thing going on. Minor leaguers are looking to get better pay. And I get it. They get paid very little. They typically have to work a second job. And I get it. They've since been provided housing when they're going from place to place and stuff to help out with some of that. But my thing is, if you're at a point where you're in the minor leagues and you make a career out of being in the minor leagues, you have issues, right? I can't play baseball, football, basketball the rest of my life. I knew that wasn't a career path for me. I knew if I did it, I would be paying more money than I was getting paid. So guess what? I chose to do something else. I still love sports. I can still join a men's baseball league somewhere, a men's softball league somewhere, whatever I want to do. I can join a flag football team, right? I can go play pickup ball. I can do all that stuff and compete with other guys who are probably fairly good too. Because I knew that I was not going to be a professional athlete. So these guys that are making a career, they're 30 years old and they're complaining because they only make $4,000 a year playing minor league ball at a single A level. Whose fault is that? You can't play baseball forever. You can't play any sport forever at the highest level. So if you've already met your peak and you're not going anywhere, at what point do you have to put on your big boy pants, be a grown-up, and go focus on something else to provide for your life, family, whoever? At some point, it's time to throw in the hat. So this is utterly ridiculous when I see stuff like this, that they're demanding that they be paid more. No, add more value. If you were good enough to get paid more, you would be in the show. But guess what? You suck. So you're not. So go find out what you don't suck at and make money there. Man, that's it.
Bravo. Oh, that's good.
Crazy.
It's so good. But you know what else is crazy? The wholesome story of the week.
It's wholesome for us. It's not really a wholesome story. It's wholesome for us.
But the fact that they got, who's that? Jennings.
Ken Jennings.
That meme is so great. So, little Jeopardy, you know? And I'll take things that never happened for 1,000, Alex.
Oh, well, let me tell you something, Chris. Kamala Harris, this is our vice president, tweets this out about some lady named Hedi. Heidi's 4-year-old son was at a football game when he heard celebratory fireworks. Panicked by the popping sounds, the little boy turned to his dad. "Active shooter," he cried, tears in his eyes. This isn't normal. We must stand up to the NRA. This never happened. And if it did, what a great parenting moment for your 4-year-old who doesn't know the difference.
Yep. Be a parent. Lead.
It's wholesome because they just make it so easy. It's so easy to troll them.
Make it easy. They make it so easy. I mean, it's right in line. Like, dude, did you see the AOC thing? We're not covering that, right?
The cuffs.
Walking out with her hands behind her back, acting
like she's cuffed.
And then she raises her fist up like, solidarity, man. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? If these are our leaders, you're just...
And
you're
people
actors.
still vote for her.
I know. It's insane.
People will still go vote for her, even though she is a complete moron. And let me ask you this, Chris. How many Republican Congress people got arrested at the January 6th insurrection?
0. Right? 0.
0, yeah. I think there might have been one somewhere, but the whole squad wasn't arrested. So why is this not an insurrection?
It's an insurrection. They're breaking up. They're trying to disrupt government. My question is, I'm not going to get into it. I'm just going to chill back. We got plenty of show. We got plenty of show to go. Let's just keep it on the track.
We'll jam through it. Come on. You can't leave me hanging.
I'm going to. Just move on. Let's move on.
What is your question, Chris?
No. I'll come back to it. I promise.
All right, well, let's get into it. Chris's Corner. Let's let him talk about what his question is. I might change up the questions for tonight because I think I have a new number one question.
Okay. Well, I'm here. I'm ready. Let's go.
Chris, what is your question? This is number one. Your time to roll.
All right. Well, my question is, why is it that these Democrats can do whatever it seems like they want to do with no repercussions, and yet Republicans sit around and play patty cake with themselves like, oh, well, we're not allowed to drill or do anything or get more oil or solve problems or be leaders because, the Democrats are doing whatever they want. I'm sick of it. Like, get a backbone. I'm over it. If I was a Republican in Congress right now, I would be telling people like, you go do whatever you want. We need to fix the supply chain right now. Go fix it. Don't worry about it. We're not going to tie this up in courts and all this other stuff. Like, who are you going to? Where along the way did we become subservient? The government works for us. They keep forgetting that. There seems to be a real problem that we have in the United States of America right now is these people get elected and then they think that they're the leaders, that they get to tell us what to do. And it's not that way. That's not how this works. You work for us. You are less than the citizenry. We are your boss in an employee-employer relationship. And you know what? Come November, you're fired. You're fired. And I wish we could do it sooner, honestly, because these people have lost their minds. And I'm just wondering, when did the populists decide we're not going to do what's in the best interest of everybody? Like, if I understand like the pipeline got shut down. Well, start building it. Start building it. Who's going to come shut you down? Who is they? Make they show up. Make they have a face that we can run campaigns and be like, these are the people who are crippling your gas tank. These people right here. Bob Smith, and whoever else shows up with their clipboard and be like, you're not allowed to build here. You're not allowed to do this. Watch me. I'm going to go build it. But Republicans don't do that.
If you build it, they will come.
Oh gosh. The border's wide open. The border's wide open. This is Republicans whining like little bitches. Whoa, the border's wide open. Why don't they just build the wall? What are you waiting for? Go build it. Solve the problem. Because then if somebody goes, well, we're not allowed to have a wall, and they show up and they start trying to tear down the wall, that's a whole different conversation. The Democrats are going to start tearing down the wall for the border. Get out of here. Come on, man. So that's my question. Why don't Republicans do anything? Why doesn't everybody have a damn backbone anymore?
Read the polls, Jack.
Read the polls, Jack.
All right. That's a good one. So number 2.
I was gonna wait till later, but it's awesome. Whatever.
Awesome. Number 2 is, do you feel like that sometimes the media, conservative media, gets really dumb? Like when they overplay, or do you think that it is overplaying the fact that Joe Biden mispronounced the word bodega?
I mean, does anybody care what Jill Biden says?
Dr.
Other
Joe
than
Biden.
she's, breakfast burritos,
But just
shout out to J-Lo getting married to Ben Affleck. She loves her taco kisses. Burrito. If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
But are we overplaying this whole Joe Biden mispronouncing the word bodega?
Yeah, who cares? People make mistakes all the time. I mean, dude, come on. Like, if somebody listened to this show and we were supposed to enunciate everything perfectly every time, like, oh, okay, get out of here. You're missing the point. So, yes, I don't understand why anybody would be focusing on that when all the other things, the aforementioned things I just said, should be on top of their mind. Like, go do something constructive. Stop picking out whether Jill Biden pronounced something correctly.
I like it. So I have a question for you. Did you see the other day that BandAids went full woke?
No. What?
Ah, man. I just noticed I didn't put this link in here. I got to be able to find it. So, oh, man. I wonder if now that I'm reading this, this might be me. This might be an old article. But oh yeah, BandAid is coming out with different BandAids allegedly, or has come out with them that are different tones, so that to match the skin tone of different racial ethnicities. They're making a big campaign out of it.
Okay, good for them.
Yeah, what do you think about BandAid going full woke with this crud?
I don't know if that's going full woke or not, man. That's catering to your client base. Somebody, gets fired up about their bandage color. Like, I guess maybe send them a free package for their brain damage, so they can wrap their head. If you're worried about things like that, it's just people get so worked up about the dumbest things, and there's no stopping it, unfortunately. And we do need Band-Aids. You're going to get cut. You're going to have cuts. And when you're cut and you're bleeding, that's the first thought you have? Oh my God, I'm cut. Oh, wow, there's bleeding. Hey, I'm wrapping my hand. I've got ice here, or I've got cold water running over. I'm trying to get it. I want to get a good Band-Aid. Oh, I'm not putting that Band-Aid on. Oh, no, that's the wrong skin color, man. I ain't going to do that. Not today. Get the right color here. If I have a black Band-Aid, there's no way I put a black Band-Aid on. I have to have white. I have to have my nude color. This is the only way it's going to work. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Come on, man.
Dude, it's so good. So good. So I kind of have a two-part question here. The verdict with Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson is not in yet. But the Cleveland Browns have tried out 2 more quarterbacks. Do you think that the Cleveland Browns are starting to think that maybe he's going to be found guilty and they're going to pay a guy $50 million a year to not even play football for him?
Probably. And you know what? You're a professional football organization. There's 32 of you in the entire world. And you have to have contingency plans. You can't just wing it. You don't just wing it. I mean, those coaches work day and night. They're working all kinds of time. GMs are working. I mean, the stuff that goes into winning football and having a winning football team, we don't really know what that looks like here in Detroit, so I shouldn't speak too much on it. But I've seen other teams, and I can glean some information from other
59, 1959.
I think it's none since 57, actually.
57.
But, yeah. Anyway, but when you're running a team like that or a company like that, and that's the thing. Chad, agreed? NFL, big business. And so you've got a lot riding on this to make sure that your product has a continuation of performance. So yeah, they would be crazy to not be trying out other quarterbacks and making sure that in the event that their quarterback is taken out. And I mean, dude, isn't that, you and I, when we talk business, right? And we talk about business plans, what do I always tell you the biggest threat to any business is? Government. They change the rules. Something happens. And in this case, it's a third party. It's not your business typically. But here you could have, the government say, sorry, Deshaun Watson is a menace to society and we're going to be locking him up. He ain't going to be playing football.
Right.
We don't care.
Right.
And so now my business model is affected. If I'm the Cleveland Browns, my business is affected by a third party, i.e. the government in this case. So you always have to have those contingency plans in place.
So what do you think the fallout is if he is found not guilty and not suspended by the NFL?
I will be very surprised if that's the case. I mean, based on what I've read and what I've seen, obviously I don't have all the information, and I'm speculating based on the information that I have. But typically it's reasonable to conclude that when there's that many allegations from separate individual parties, it's not like it's a sorority with there's all these, there's no common bond there between all the women who have come forth. So it's pretty hard to look the other way. And if he's found not guilty, I think they're going to have a big time public relations issue.
Yeah. I think I'm almost curious. I wonder the total number of women who he got massages by, like the total number of masseuses. Because I think 24 or 25 women have accused him.
Yeah. Like,
so
how many
if you only got
are you getting?
if you only got
Like, I don't
massages
do
over
that.
the course of years from 26, okay. But I'm just curious, like
25 have accused you.
right. If he's got massages from 200, let's say.
Okay, so 1 in 10 now is like accusing you.
Right. I just think it potentially makes a different story because, if you knew that you could get $100,000 just by lying and saying that some guy touched you and you would never have to talk about it in trial, you could just settle outside of court. Because he probably did touch you, whether or not you wanted him to or not. So it's like everything is true. It's just, did you actually consent?
Yeah, I know. I think there was a lot of non-consensual
I'm sure there was
activities.
I'm sure there was. But let's wrap it up with a good life topic, which is just being a long-term thinker, right? Being a long-term thinker. Because according to The Economist, China, are you familiar with The Economist much?
Yep.
Are they left-leaning, right-leaning?
They're pretty neutral.
Middle of the road. Okay. So new data suggests that the damage from shutting down schools has been worse than almost anyone expected. My question to you, Chris, is who is this anyone?
Again, who's they? Identify yourself. Be specific.
We were all saying that this is going to be a terrible idea.
It's the same thing. Like that's one of the things that drives me the most nuts is when they use overarching, wide-ranging demographics. Almost anyone
every time.
Oh, you're being discriminated against for voting. These people, you're making it harder for people to vote. Okay, specifically, who am I making it harder to vote? I want their name. I want their address. I want to make sure that they're not having a hard time to vote. Let's help these people. Let's stop, yelling platitudes about how they don't get to vote and how we're making it harder. Let's help them. But what's their name? I need Shelley Smith. I need, Bob Jones, and I got, whatever, Shaniqua Williams. Like, let's go. These people are having a hard time getting registered to vote. Let's get them registered to vote and show them how to do that.
Right.
But where's your list of they're being oppressed? Who's they? Who's worse off? I think a lot of people are. But can we be a little bit more specific, please? Like, what grades are you seeing? Schools shutting down schools. Well, in America, that's a lot of schooling. The first 22 years of your life is widely consumed with education from pre-kindergarten, kindergarten, K through 12, and then the universities that shut down. So post high school, and then even post grad stuff. So what area has been affected? What did it do? What is making it worse? What are you drawing from? It's a dumb headline.
It is. I ain't got anything more.
What do you think?
That was great. I mean, I think that, right. It's just exactly what you said. What is actually worse? Our kids, our kids not developing as much? Do they not retain as much knowledge? Are they being angrier towards different friends, not making friends as easy? Are they, are their parents now becoming more impoverished because of this? Or what are we talking about here? It's almost like, obviously, I don't know about you, but when I try to do classes over Zoom, it's the worst thing ever. I can't pay attention. I'm fiddling with my phone. I'm fiddling with everything like I do now. I'm not listening to what you're saying because my 1-year-old daughter's knocking on my door. There's all this stuff that we all knew that learning from a Zoom call isn't the best thing because you're going to consume more when you're in the environment.
Right.
Right. So
that's true. And I think I just want to know, they're saying that, the data suggests that the damage from shutting down the schools. So what did they think the damage was going to be from shutting down schools? And then what makes that worse?
And if they knew that there was going to be damage from shutting down schools, why did they do it?
That's exactly where I was going with that. Exactly. But that's way too logical of a question. And then it goes back to the whole point of why didn't we just go to school and, you guys keep your crap, do whatever. If you don't want to go to school, don't go to school.
Read the polls, Jack.
The laws. You know what it is? I'm tired of the lies, man.
The fact that 92% of Democratic voters said they would vote for me again. Like, no one wants you to run again. The Democrats are now setting this up 2 years early. This is literally this is a 3-year game plan that they're setting
how they're
you
going to
up
get rid of him
in the media and everything, so that it's a super simple conversation of why Joe Biden's not running again.
Dude, how many Democrats across the country right now are secretly hoping that he dies of COVID?
Every single one of them.
They're probably in there sipping their little tea going, please, I was going to pray to a God, but I don't believe in God. Please, just universe, juices, end Joe Biden's life with COVID so that we can shut universe down and we can show how dangerous COVID still is. It just killed the president of the United States, and now we need to lock down everything through November.
Oh man, that's fantastic.
Can you imagine if that happened? That would be insane.
That would
Commander
be insane.
Commander Whalls.
Commander Dayton.
You have a date at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, we'll see. Can't wait. Bogo boneless.
Let's go. I'm on my way.
Yeah, all right. Well, blessed be the fruit, Commander. Would you like to go to the grocery store?
I would. Great weather we're having.
Under his eye.
Under his eye. Go in grace.